Hello everyone, it's Renina here and welcome to the channel. Are we having a look at the new My Time at Sandrock trailer? Well, new, it has been released in October. I have seen it maybe like the first couple of seconds on Facebook or so, but haven't really looked into it and I wanted to react on it on camera or more likely in a video. So you guys would know because I have played a lot of My Time at Portia, so I was really curious what they're going to do in My Time at Sandrock. And this is the extended trailer. This one is like 5 minutes or so. There's also one for like 2 minutes, which only contains, I think, the first part of this trailer, which came out last February. The devs have also played a little bit of a playthrough twice. Once in, I think it was February, where they played through the first couple of minutes of the game, and they did one just the end of March, where it was very combat focused. Have a look at that as well, because it's really awesome. They also dropped some hints about some new stuff. For example, they are going to have guns. But without further ado, let's have a quick look at the trailer they released just a while back. So right off the bat, we see it's a very desert landscape. And it looks abandoned, to be honest. I mean, so far no one has been seen, but us, I think. I think we were the builder in the train. Alright, so let's go a little bit back for a moment. Let's just first watch the whole trailer and then we go back to some things that caught my eye. So there is farming and fishing? Desert fishing? And apparently romances, friendship, I think all the main things you could do in Portia, there's also in My Time at Sandrock. And apparently we're still holding signs above our heads. So we already see multiple weapons that you can have. Like I saw like a big long sword and a shorter one. And I think that train is going to play a really important part, because we've seen the train like 4 or 5 times in this trailer alone. And as you can see, it comes to Steam, Epic, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and one that I didn't recognize. It's Mint! That is actually Mint! From My Time at Portia.
My Time at Sandrock is a story-driven open-world simulation RPG. The story takes place in a world rebuilding itself about 300 years after the untimely collapse of an earlier civilization. The player starts out by arriving in the city-state of Sandrock to take the place of a retiring builder. But they'll quickly discover Sandrock isn't as nice as Portia. The oasis is drying up, shops are closing, and people are ready to leave for greener pastures. The player will have to use all available resources and dig up ancient relics around town to support their workshop, build helpful structures for the town, and complete commissions for the townsfolk. Hopefully, due to the player's actions, Sandrock can be restored to its former glory. Along the way, the player will be able to make lots of new friends and even find love and marriage. The relationships the player can build with any given character may affect the price of items, unlock special missions and events, and even change details like their greetings on the street. And what would a My Time game be without mini-games? In Sandrock, we'll have all kinds of fun new mini-games for the player to earn special items while their machines are working and crops are growing. Sandrock is located on top of an ancient metropolis in the Eufaula Desert, so there are lots of places to explore and plenty of secrets to uncover. But beware, many of these uncharted areas are home to ruthless outlaws and nefarious bandits. By the time of the game's full release on Steam, we plan to have implemented a multiplayer mode that will allow friends to build together in a special new map with its own unique challenges.
That's really awesome. Multiplayer
all in all,
mode.
We're working hard to create an experience we hope players will find memorable and rewarding during their time in Sandrock.
Alright, so this has been
Hi
trailer.
everyone, I'm Shizhi, the director of
So this is a little bit of a dev notes on the end, but I mainly wanted to focus on the little bit of gameplay that we saw and what we could discover there. So let's go all the way back. As you can see here, let me see, there was... Our resident builder is retiring. We need 2 new builders to replace him. Apply now through the Telegram office. Sandrock City Hall, the position is... Alright, so 1 builder is retiring. We're going to have... They want 2 builders to replace him, basically. So I guess this is us being on our way towards Sandrock, by the looks of it. So let's just assume that's us, or like the player who is portraying us in the trailer. Alright, so teaming with outlaws and danger. So that implies... I am really wondering who this is, because I wouldn't think this ninja type person is going to be very welcoming to us. At least he doesn't look like a welcoming character. Also, yet again, the train. So I have a feeling there is going to be like this big story around the train, getting it up and running, maybe using for importing and exporting products. And that somehow this... either this one ninja or like a group of ninjas wants to steal the resources on the train, break the train, don't want it running. I think there is going to be a sabotaging of the train somewhere along the storyline in My Time at Sandrock. So also what you see here is we actually ran outside. So that implies to me, like, we ran outside at night. There's like this really quick shot over here. So hopefully night is going to be a little bit more interesting. Like, I always disliked everything that happened after the evening in Portia because there wasn't really a lot to do. Yes, you could go to the round table and you could talk with people, but there wasn't a whole lot to do. And it wasn't like that the nights became more dangerous and more critters would appear. So otherwise you could have gone out at night and farmed resources from critters, but that was also not really an option because there were as many critters in the morning and in the evening as there were at night. So maybe that's something that changes. I hope so. That would be lovely, that the nights become a little bit more of an importance than just a changing of time. Alright, let's continue. So there are going to be sandstorms. We're seeing we're seeing this girl an awful lot in the trailer. So I have a feeling she might be the second builder. She might be, I don't know. I think she's going to be of great importance. A little bit like Arlo was. I think, was it Arlo? Or maybe it's like a Presley. I think she's maybe a bit more like a Presley, not necessarily from the Commons Guild like Presley was, but more of a, hey, I'm going to help you get started and welcome to, in this case, Sandrock, and let's make the best of it. Also, these creatures are appearing in the trailer like multiple times, so I'm really wondering what they are. Can you whether you can tame them? That would be awesome. Like, if they are replacements for cows, that would be really, really nice. So wondering whether we're going to see them a whole lot more and what they are of importance to Sandrock. So this is something that really got me going. So it's Paradise Walk, and it looks like, by the way it looks, I would say this is part of the old civilization that Sandrock is built on. So this looks like it was a kind of cyberpunk city that is laying underneath Sandrock that we're going to explore. Also, one thing that I noticed is that the dungeons, or at least this part of My Time at Sandrock, looks a lot less cookie cutter than the dungeons that we had in Portia, because in Portia you had a couple of dungeons that really looked alike. And also that they weren't really inspirational. Like, if you walked from one room to another, they all kind of looked the same. For example, the sewer system, if you've seen one room, you have seen them all. So I really hope that they give a little bit more diversity to the runes and to the dungeons that will appear in My Time at Sandrock. By the looks of it, I am really, really, really enthusiastic because this looks awesome. If they like kind of carry this neon technological aesthetic, if they keep that going throughout the ancient civilization that Sandrock was built upon, I would be really, really, really happy. You see the robot arms sticking out of the sand, so that's awesome. So as you can see here, and one thing they also mentioned during the first playthrough that I've seen a bit of, is that wood is going to be scarce. Like, as you can see, there are no trees anywhere. We haven't seen, like, basically a single tree throughout the trailer. So one thing that I think that is going to happen is wood is going to be a scarcity, and wood is only going to be used as a building material. So that would mean that we need, for example, coal very early on to actually get our furnaces going, to get our cutters going, maybe building something like a factory or power supply is gonna be more important in Sandrock, considering we can't throw wood into everything and just assuming it's going to work, because there isn't a whole lot of wood, and I would imagine wood would be used for very important structures or items that we have to make instead of just burning it up if it's so rare. And these look like oil, like places where you can get oil from. Maybe we're going to use oil at some point. I'm really curious how we're going to do the whole power situation, because we can't use wood, I imagine, so using something else is gonna be the way to go, I suppose. Like, there's a little bit of wood you can chop. There's also farming, so as you can see, we've still got small planter boxes. There's a big planter box over here, and by the looks of it, we're growing wheat. So planting's still gonna be a big part of the game. I underestimated how big the planting was in My Time at Portia, so I'm really, really happy to see it coming back. And this time I probably will have keep my eye on it a bit better than when I did my first couple of years in Portia. Still looks kind of same. Then we're getting to this. This looks like fishing, if you ask me. Like, it's sinking, so I would imagine it's gonna be quicksand or so. And you just throw something in, and maybe it's like magnetic fishing, so you're fishing for scraps of metal or for treasures or something like that. Really, really curious to see what they're going to do with it, because I can't imagine this is going to catch any fish or crabs or any sea creatures whatsoever. I think there are hardly going to be any sea creatures or fish, like there were in My Time at Portia. You had the whole Emperor collection that you could get and put into the museum. I don't think that's going to happen here. I don't think so, because there's hardly going to be any water in the desert now, is there? Because, as they said before, like, let's wait a second, the oases are drying up as well. So this is, by the looks of it, it looks like a researcher or a doctor, something like that. I think he's one of the NPCs that we can have a relationship with, or at least a one of the more meaningful NPCs. Again, that terrain, it's gonna be really important. There is a statue over here that we've seen once or twice in the trailer as well, so I think that might be the founder or so. Really, would be really happy to see a little bit more of backstory, because I can't remember that we've got a really big backstory on the founders of Portia, or the meaning of, say, the squares, or how they came to be. So I would love to see a little bit more background of Sandrock. But considering that we are going to be building up the city, I think that is going to happen. I think this will, what they display with this scene is that you can actually get into a romantic relationship. She probably is an NPC as well. And we're going to ride our horses. As you can see, there's a little trail here. Yes, it does pick up. So there's a little trail here. So we're riding. It's the same girl I said before, like maybe who's going to be like the Presley of My Time at Sandrock. So we're actually going to ride our horses from point A to point B. They may become a little bit more important. I certainly hope so. And we're stuck down to this former glory. Still going to hold pieces above our heads. There is no changing in that. And this looks like a major greenhouse. I wouldn't know why you would need a greenhouse in a desert, except for that it may be easy to control the water, what goes into the crops, and therefore it can grow easily. Because this all looks like wheat that is fully grown, and they're actually cheering on that it's growing. So I think that might be one of the first quest lines, to make sure there's a good food supply here in Sandrock, and we're making sure the greenhouse is working correctly. Then here you got the statue again, that because the other scene that we just talked about was right over here. We were sitting over here, overlooking, train was passing by, and this was the statue we were looking at. We're dancing around the campfires, and we can become a legend. That sounds awesome. And then we got to the combat stuff. So here you see a giant toad. And here you see like is it like a two-handed weapon? Looks like a different one. And yet again, the train. So I don't know what's for importance. Oh, there's the ninja again. Like, this is the ninja that we saw before. Is he gonna be a good guy? I can't imagine him being a good guy, to be honest. I would be really surprised. So that would be a plot twist from the trailer on, because he looks really suspicious as far as I can tell. And yet again, the train that we're going to follow on our horses. I don't think it was us, by the way, following the train. And there, that girl again, who is probably gonna be a little bit like Presley. And this is the end of this part of the trailer. Let me just lower the volumes that bit here. Alright, so now we're going to the section where they also commented a little bit more. And this mint, I am fairly certain this is mint from My Time at Portia. I think he came from Sandrock because he came when we were going to dig a tunnel between us, Portia, and Sandrock through the desert. I have a feeling that if you would see a map of the whole world Sandrock and Portia are part of, you see Portia on one side of the desert, where also Dana's mine is located, and on the other side it would be Sandrock. They would be rather close by, I would say. Surprisingly close by. And again, the same creature that I think is gonna be like a sort of cow for
My Time at Sandrock is a story-driven open-world simulation RPG. The story takes place in a world rebuilding itself about 300 years after the untimely collapse of an earlier civilization.
So I'm wondering, what time does Portia take place? I'm just going to put it on the screen here. So Portia is either going to take place before or after the 300 years after the collapse. So Portia may be... I think Portia is a prequel to My Time at Sandrock, but I'm not entirely sure, so I'm having to go look that up after this reaction
starts
video.
Out by arriving in the city-state of Sandrock to take the place of a retiring builder. But they'll quickly...
And there is she, and there is like, I think the mayor or the one making... It probably isn't the one driving the train, but no idea.
discover Sandrock isn't as nice as Portia. The oasis is...
So the oasis drying up shops are closing. It looks like there's a major sandstorm going through the city. I bet you these are shops. This looks like one of those dungeons that you go into and look for relics or
drying
runes.
up, shops are closing, and people are ready to leave for green...
Also, one thing. Have a look at the corner here. I think if you had My Time at Portia, the map was completely revealed. I think. I'm not entirely sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if at least... I think this is fairly new, that you only reveal the map as you walk around. And like there's a circle around you and you can see as far as that circle. And as you walk around, that circle gets filled in until you like fill in the whole map by walking around a lot.
Pastures.
So that looks really, really nice.
Have to use all available resources.
So we're growing wheat here. You can either paint. Oh, can you paint the planter boxes? If you could paint the planter box, it would be really nice. There's tumbleweed here. We saw just a second ago that you could chop down cactuses.
Dig up ancient relics around.
Alright, so now it's going to be really, really fast. So abandoned ruins, unexplored layer 1. Oh, you've got multiple layers. You should have a go here. You might get a simple circuit, a small engine, or an industrial engine. So it looks like they still kind of have the same components that Portia uses for as building materials
around town.
And the digging looks kind of the same. There is a quest going on here that they blacked out. I think still looks fairly the same as the Portia.
Build.
All right. So a pickaxe is a special pickaxe that can only dig for ores in the ruins, but it can also be used to turn debris into usable materials. So that is really interesting. We're going to turn debris into usable materials, and I'm really, really happy to see that happening, just to see how that goes. And as you can see, we are going to use a little bit of wood, and we can get wood from a log, which you probably have to find, but they are probably scarce or retrieved from somewhere. Probably not easy to get, I think.
Helpful structures for the town.
Oh, we're going so fast. So this is stone scrap. So we're going to scrap things in this machine. We've got a hardwood stick, which is made on the workbench over here. And we're smelting copper bars. And this is probably what I would think a power supply, or it might be another bigger smelter. I'm not entirely sure, but this big green thing here is in the back. Also, I love the way the workbenches are looking. They're looking a lot more convincing. As for now, you've got the saw blade. But here you've got an engine. So actually you see the engine that is powering the saw blade instead of it being just a small workbench. It looks like we are setting up a coop here or other pieces of the workshop. It looks a lot better. Now you can actually see the grid. And the grid is a whole lot smaller, I think, than in Portia. So I'm looking forward to placing more things around and on my workshop.
And complete commissions for the townsfolk.
Oh, we could just barely see it. There's like one frame here where they showed. So you got a player house, the assembly station, a work table, a bedroom, a bestiary, a bedroom, Oh, it's looking so awesome. So you can actually upgrade whatever you've got. That would be awesome if you just don't have to upgrade your whole house, but you could upgrade like add bedrooms, add bestiaries. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to
Missions
this.
for the townsfolk. Hopefully, due to the
Alright, let's quickly go back. What do we see here? So this is a town, so we're just slightly out of town, but not too far. It's on the other side of the railroad. We've got the Blue Moon Saloon. I think it's one of the first places we build up, because I think this Blue Moon is the first thing we held above our head when we were walking around. We got a ranch over here. There is someone walking.
hopefully, due
I
to
don't
the player's
recognize.
action, Sandrock
The art piece of water. Oh, and this is the ninja. The ninja actually isn't a bad guy, I think. Arvio is called Sandrock City Hall. And Arvio is the ninja that we saw. Oh, that's nice. So actually he isn't a bad guy. He's probably more like Arlo, or like the one keeping the peace around
can
town.
be restored to its former glory. Along the way, the
And this is the guy we just saw, is the one from the greenhouse. I think this is greenhouse because it looks like sprinklers are on and there's like wheat in the background
along
here.
the way, the player will be able
And I've
to
got
make
Mason, who
lots
is the old builder, Amira, who is the pottery artist. And I think she's the girl we were like snuggling up with in the previous part of the
of new
trailer.
friends and
Don't know who this is. Looks like another one who might be part of the Civil Corps, or maybe a miner or
even find
adventurer.
love and
You can find love and even marriage. Oh, this food looks so good. I'm so happy to see it out on tables, because in Portia you just held it in your hand and like ate it by like pointing it towards your mouth, and suddenly it was gone. So seeing it on a table like this is really, really nice. There's like a lady over here that I don't recognize. I don't think we've seen her before, and I don't think we've seen this character before, whether it's a he or she.
marriage.
And this is the pottery artist. The moonlight tonight is wonderful, wouldn't you agree? A moon like this one is one of the few things that remind me of growing up in Barnarock. So actually, we grew up in Barnarock is the whole story, I would think.
The relationships the
And this looks like the sprinkler, and it looks like a greenhouse. So yeah, I think we can fairly certainly say that we're building up a
player can
greenhouse.
build with any given character may affect the
And there's like this...
price of items.
Don't know who he is. She... We know. Oh, they have matching jackets, so I betcha these are part of like the Civil Corps.
Unlock special missions and events.
And
even
so
change
interesting, like
details,
this doctor
their
guy
greetings
can
on the
either like
street.
give us stuff or throw feces to our face. Key? Let's give it a different name. Now there's another ninja. I don't know.
And what would a My Time game be without minigames?
Ooh, the minigame part. So we actually got a Whack the Mole or Whack the Rat by the looks
In
of it.
Sandrock will have all kinds of
Looks
fun
like bandy rats. Please choose a route. Met a slime with eternal settlers. Please predict the next move. Cost 10 goals in total. Oh, so you got like this little gambling thing where you have to go through what looks like something similar as to... How's it called again? I forgot the name of that game. You play just Slay the Spire. That's what the game is called. You start over here, choose a path.
new mini-games for the player to earn
Really?
special items while their machines
Here is how these are
working
going to go. And we've got the Bubble Witch Saga, the idea. Real shot right in the goal. With the remaining steps, you could refine your equipment successfully. You could use tools to make the game easier, but every time you use them, materials exchanging them could get twice as before. I think twice as expensive.
crops are growing. Sandrock is located
Alright, so I've got the breach. The holes over here, so this looks like the stables. This might be like a mining corporation
top
or
of an
so. And this is what we talked about before. Like, this is the city, or at least I think this is an image of the city that's below
ancient
Sandrock.
metropolis in the Eufaula Desert.
Oh,
so
it
there
looks
are lots of places
amazing.
to explore and plenty of secrets to uncover.
Yeah, and I've got the boss over here with like... Looks like a robot with like a big hammer. By the way, I don't think it's a boss, because there's one laying here as well. So I think he's like one of the bigger critters that we come across in the runes. And the runes are looking amazing. They're looking so unique from one another. I don't think I've seen something that looks similar from all of the runes we've seen in the trailer so far.
But beware, many of these uncharted areas are home to
And there's like something that looks like it comes out of Borderlands. There is like, oh, I'm loving it so far. I have to say, I'm
ruthless
loving it.
outlaws and nefarious bandits. By the
And like, this is us. This is Civil Corps guy. This is like Presley, another Civil Corps guy, I think.
time of the
Going
game's
into
full release on Steam,
Oh, this looks like they're going down. Either this is a balloon or might be a car that goes down a real Also,
By the time of the game's full release
and this looks like the queen or like the mayor. Like, she looks like an important person that we have to keep friends with.
on Steam, we plan to
looks
have
friendly as
implemented
well.
a multiplayer mode that
And
will
of course,
allow
you've got the
friends to build
multiplayer mode,
together
which
in a special new map
I'm not sure how that
with
is
its own
going to...
unique
Oh, look at the
challenges.
critters.
All in all,
You
we're
got the
working
outlaw.
hard to create an experience we hope players will find memorable and rewarding during their time in Sandrock.
So yeah, it's looking amazing. It's looking absolutely amazing, I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section down below what your reaction is to this trailer and whether you're looking forward to My Time in Sandrock or not. Hope to see you guys next time and have a lovely day.